They took his eyes and left him for dead, thinking he was just easy prey. But these terrorists just made the fatal mistake of their lives by leaving him alive. Because they didn't just break a man, they woke up the CIA's deadliest asset. The story kicks off in the heart of Mexico. We meet a CIA agent named Sheldon Sands. Sands is a man with a lot of secrets, and right now, he's meeting an informant named Bellini. Sands is on the hunt for a ghost, a legendary killer who travels with nothing but a guitar case. He asks Bellini where this man is hiding. Bellini smiles and says the man has a long, bloody history. It started with a brutal enemy, General Marquez. Years ago, Mariachi cornered Marquez and put a bullet straight through his chest. He watched the general fall and walked away, certain the nightmare was over. But Marquez was too fueled by hate to die. He survived the shot, and ever since, he's been a ghost living only for revenge. Marquez eventually captured Mariachi, but a dangerous woman named Carolina stepped in to save him. Carolina wasn't just anyone, she was Marquez's former girlfriend who had fallen deeply in love with Mariachi. Because of that betrayal, Marquez has been fueled by pure rage ever since. During a narrow escape, Mariachi and Carolina found themselves trapped in a hotel room, handcuffed together and surrounded by Marquez's men. In a desperate move, they jumped out of a window and engaged in a massive shootout while hanging from a chain. They eventually landed on a passing bus and vanished into the night. For a while, they found peace. They got married and Carolina gave birth to a beautiful daughter. Their family was finally complete. But Marquez never forgets. He tracked them down and, in a cold-blooded attack, he killed Carolina and their young daughter right in front of Mariachi. Marquez left Mariachi for dead and walked away, thinking the debt was settled. Bellini tells Sands that no one knows if Mariachi is actually alive or dead. But if he is alive, there will be no mercy for Marquez. Sands is impressed. He hands over a stack of cash and tells Bellini to find Mariachi at any cost. As Bellini leaves, we see Sands' true nature. He detaches a fake arm he was using as a disguise, revealing he's much more capable than he looks. In a quiet village, we find the legend himself. Mariachi is alive, living in the shadows. He visits an old friend, a master guitar maker. The old man hands him a newly crafted masterpiece and asks him to play. Mariachi strikes a beautiful, haunting tune, but the piece doesn't last. Suddenly, a group of cartel members storm into the shop. Mariachi realizes they aren't here for the music, they're here for him. He quickly ducks into the shadows, ready for a fight. A man named Kukui steps out of the lead car and walks straight up to the old guitar maker. He demands to know where El Mariachi is hiding. The old man stays silent, but Kukui isn't a patient man. He executes the old man on the spot, then turns his gun on the next person. Before he can pull the trigger again, a sharp whistle cuts through the air. Mariachi steps out of the shadows. He refuses to let any more innocent people die on his account. Kukui smiles, he's finally found his man. He apologizes for the mess and tells Mariachi that someone very special wants to meet him. Mariachi is taken to meet the CIA agent, Sheldon Sands. Sands is a strange man. He tells Mariachi that he's well aware of his legendary skills and wants to hire him for a specific job: kill General Marquez. The moment Mariachi hears that name, his eyes fill with fire. He tells Sands that Marquez murdered his wife and daughter, and he was planning on killing the general anyway. But Sands has a twisted plan. He tells Mariachi to wait. He wants Marquez to kill the president of Mexico first. Only after the president is dead should Mariachi take his revenge. As they talk, a plate of slow-roasted pork is served. Sands tells Mariachi it's the best meat he's ever tasted. Then, he reveals his dark philosophy: whenever I find a meal this good, I kill the cook so I never have to experience something inferior. True to his word, Sands walks into the kitchen after the meal and guns down the cook, leaving Mariachi to head out on his mission. Meanwhile, we meet a high-ranking officer named Ajdres. She is sharp, ambitious, and claims to be dedicated to her work. On the other side of town, the president of Mexico is giving a passionate speech about cleaning up the corruption that is ruining the country. He has no idea that a coup is already being planned. Mariachi follows Sands' instructions and heads to a quiet church. He enters the confession box, but he isn't there to pray. A voice from the other side tells him that once Marquez is dead, he'll receive a massive payout and total freedom. He can go anywhere in the world and leave his bloody past behind. But for Mariachi, this isn't about the money, it's about the blood debt. While Mariachi is in the church, a group of Barillo's thugs storm in. We finally learn the truth. Barillo is the one who hired General Marquez. His plan is to have Marquez assassinate the president so Marquez can take over, allowing Barillo to run the country from the shadows. But Sands has his own agenda. He wants the president dead too, but he needs Marquez killed immediately afterwards so the general can never take power. Barillo knows Mariachi is a threat to this plan, so he sends his men to finish him off. They clearly underestimated their target. Mariachi flips open his guitar case, pulls out his signature weapons, and turns the church into a graveyard. After the smoke clears, Mariachi calls Sands. He tells him this job is bigger than they thought and he needs to rebuild his old team. Sands gives him total freedom, whatever it takes to get the job done. Sands then tracks down a retired FBI agent named Jorge. Barillo murdered Jorge's partner years ago, and Jorge has spent every day since dreaming of revenge. Sands hands him a phone and makes a deal. I'll give you Barillo on a silver platter, and you can finally finish what you started. Meanwhile, Mariachi tracks down his two old friends, Lorenzo and Fidio. These guys look like ordinary musicians, but they are actually elite gunmen who have been through hell with Mariachi before. They grab their guitar cases, which, of course, are packed with more than just instruments, and join the mission. Sands continues to pull the strings from the shadows. He meets with the president's advisor and buys him off, ensuring he has an inside track on every move the president makes. But Sands is never satisfied. He meets Bellini again, looking for more intel. Bellini, sensing Sands' desperation, starts acting tough and demands more money. Sands is always prepared. He rests his fake hand on the table as a distraction while keeping his real hand on a gun hidden under the table. Suddenly, a waitress spills coffee on the fake hand and keeps trying to clean it. She won't back off, and in the confusion, Bellini realizes the hand is a prop. Before Bellini or the waitress can even react, Sands pulls his weapon and kills them both. He's not leaving any witnesses or loose ends. Sands meets with Officer Ajdrez, and we get the big reveal. She isn't just a local officer, she's a CIA operative working under him. Sands lays out the final plan. He wants the president and Marquez to take each other out, but the real target is the money. He explains that Barillo has $20 million waiting for Marquez once the coup is successful. Sands plans to steal that fortune during the chaos and vanish. He invites Ajdrez to join him, promising her a life of luxury once they cross the border. She agrees, and the trap is set. Meanwhile, Mariachi is scouting the president's palace. As he listens to the president speak, he starts to have second thoughts. He realizes the president is actually a good man who truly cares for Mexico. He doesn't want the man to die, but his focus remains on his real target, Marquez. He begins scouting every entrance and exit, looking for the perfect spot to intercept the general. On the other side of the city, Jorge tracks down a man named Billy, who has been trapped in Barillo's inner circle for 8 years. Billy is desperate to get out, but he's too deep. Jorge makes him an offer. Give me Barillo, and I'll get you a one-way ticket to America. Billy claims Barillo doesn't tell him anything useful, but Jorge is one step ahead. He notices Billy's dog and hides a high-tech microphone on its collar. Now, every secret whispered in Barillo's mansion will go straight to the FBI. Back in the streets, things take a turn for the worse. Kukui, the man who originally brought Mariachi to Sands, reappears. He's gone rogue. He tells Mariachi that he's no longer working for the CIA. He's working for Barillo now because the cartel pays better. Kukui wants the bounty on Mariachi's head and attacks. What follows is a brutal game of cat and mouse through the alleys of the city. Mariachi fights like a demon, but Kukui has too many men. After a long, exhausting struggle, Kukui manages to knock Mariachi unconscious. The legend has been captured, and he's being delivered straight to the Lion's Den, Barillo's headquarters. Kukui finally delivers Mariachi to Barillo and spills everything about Sands' plan. He thinks he's earned his place at the table, but Barillo doesn't value loyalty from a traitor. He tells Kukui, if you betrayed him, you'll betray me, and guns him down on the spot. Barillo then calls Marquez to finish off Mariachi, but you can't keep a legend down for long. Before Marquez can arrive, Mariachi breaks his bonds, takes out the guards, and vanishes into the night. Barillo, meanwhile, is planning his own disappearance. He heads to a secret hospital wing where the best surgeons are waiting to give him a completely new face. He knows that once the president is dead and his identity is changed, he can live anywhere in the world as a ghost. As the surgery begins, Jorge, following the mic on the dog, bursts into the room. He finds a body on the table covered in blood and is told Barillo died during the procedure. But Jorge is too sharp for that. He notices the rings on the corpse's fingers are loose and falling off. He realizes Barillo swapped in a double to fake his own death. Jorge scans the room and spots Barillo, his face covered in bandages, trying to slip away. Before Jorge can move, Ajdres appears behind him and knocks him unconscious. Back in the city, Sands is losing his mind. His contacts are silent and his plan is falling apart. Ajdres calls him, pretending she wants to meet. When they sit down at a restaurant, she drugs him, and Sands wakes up in a nightmare. He finds himself tied to a chair with Barillo and Ajdres standing over him. Barillo laughs, telling Sands he only knew what Barillo wanted him to know. Sands looks at Ajdres in shock, realizing she's the one who leaked his location. She smiles and reveals the ultimate double-cross. She isn't just a CIA mole, she is Barillo's daughter. Barillo decides that since Sands liked to see everything, he doesn't need his eyes anymore. In a brutal move, he blinds the agent and dumps him on the street, leaving him to wander the city in agony. But Sands isn't done yet. A young boy finds him, and Sands pays the kid to be his eyes. As they move through the city, Sands senses someone following them. Even though he's blind, his instincts are sharp. With the boy's help to aim, Sands fires his weapon and takes down the assassin. He may be blind, but Sheldon Sands is still the most dangerous man in Mexico. The city erupts into total chaos as General Marquez's army launches a full-scale assault on the presidential palace. Sands' original plan was for Mariachi to wait until the president was dead to strike, but Mariachi has other plans. He's seen the president's heart and knows the man is worth saving. He leaves Lorenzo and Fidio to guard the perimeter and storms the palace alone. Inside, the halls are a war zone. Mariachi is fighting off waves of soldiers when his companions burst in to back him up. With their high-tech guitar cases, they turn the tide of the battle. The president realizes these men aren't his assassins, they're his guardian angels. Mariachi finds the traitorous advisor, finishes him off, and has the president swap clothes with the dead man to sneak him out safely. As they make their escape, they stumble upon the stash of $20 million Barillo had prepared for Marquez. Lorenzo and Fidio don't hesitate, they dump their gear and stuff the guitar cases with cash. Outside, the citizens of Mexico have seen enough. They take to the streets to fight back against Marquez's tyranny. Meanwhile, Billy manages to track down and rescue Jorge. Together, they head toward the palace just as Marquez finally enters the throne room. The general is hunting for the president, but he finds someone much more dangerous waiting for him. Mariachi steps out of the shadows. He looks Marquez in the eye and tells him his sins have finally caught up with him. He shoots the general in the knees, forcing him to the ground, before delivering a final, lethal shot to the head. The blood debt is finally paid. Outside, a blind but defiant Sands is still firing into the chaos. Ajdres finds him and, in a twisted moment of affection, kisses him one last time before raising her gun to finish him. But Sands is faster. He feels the movement and shoots her first, ending her betrayal once and for all. In the final showdown, Barillo finds Marquez's body and realizes his empire is crumbling. He guns down Billy for his betrayal, but before he can do more, Jorge and Mariachi appear. They open fire together, and the kingpin falls dead. With the villains gone, Jorge thanks Sands and disappears into the night. Mariachi and his crew safely deliver the president back to his loyal officers. The president is forever grateful, but Mariachi doesn't want power or titles. He takes the millions of dollars back to his village and distributes every cent to the poor. As the sun sets, the legend of El Mariachi continues. He sits alone, playing a haunting tune on his guitar, remembering his beautiful life with Carolina. He's found his peace, and the mission is finally over. El Mariachi came for revenge, but he left a legend. The debt is paid, the gold is gone, and the music never stops. Was that the best ending to the trilogy? Let me know below, smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next recap.